Okay, we are live, but we got to let it breathe just for a few moments here while we bring on Facebook and Instagram. What a game! What a game. Lots to discuss. Can't wait. And we're good. Welcome in, everybody. It is the gut reaction episode of the Mile High Huddle podcast. I'm your host, Chad Jensen, and with me is my fellow football priest, who you know, who you love, Zack Kelberman. Zack, you and I both predicted a Broncos victory in this one, but it was a commanding win. And what I really liked about it, aside from the obvious that Bo Nix had himself a day statistically and all that really encouraging positive stuff, but they overcame a little early adversity. It would have been easy for the old Broncos, the old can't catch a break Broncos, that first sign of adversity, they're dropping their eyes. It would have been easy to go into that kind of a posture, but they didn't today. Broncos come out on top. They allowed a garbage time touchdown, but they win this one 28-14.
Yeah, after little Jordan Humphrey had that fumble and they allowed a touchdown, I was going to tweet "same old Broncos," but I refrained because maybe it wouldn't be, and it wasn't. They dominated, but from that point forward, seemed like Sean Payton had a little bit of an agenda to prove to Dave Canales and the Panthers. He was teabagging them consistently, Chad, throughout the game with the trickery and this and that, but very aggressive play calling with Bo Nix. I was very happy to see that, and overall, I know it was Carolina 1-6, this and that, but we could say it was a coming out party for that offense. And we're on to Baltimore now.
Honestly, I think when Canales, so there was that third down, 3rd and 2, and they declined a holding penalty that would have made it 3rd and 12. The Broncos, Sean Payton declined that holding penalty at thinking you're going to punt. So go ahead and punt because of the field position. They were, I want to say, just barely on their side, the Panthers, just on their side of the 50. And then he decides, no, okay, thanks for the free 10 yards, Sean Payton. Now I'm going to go for it. And then, of course, the Broncos stopped him. Quite clearly, you could see that stuck in Sean Payton's craw a little bit. That upset him. And to me, Zach, that's how I explain, oh, Hail Mary, he got the freaking ball, dude. Washington just won that game. Holy cow. Sorry. Washington wins. Hail Mary prayer, dude. A miracle. A miracle. All right. But to me, Zach, that's what explains why Sean Payton kept pulling out all the stops. Like almost like you said, a certain illustration that you used to describe it that I liked.
Yeah, Sean Payton's King Petty. And if you kind of cross him, then he'll go doubly to cross you. And
Uh-oh. Zach's frozen out. I don't know what's up there. But let's jump into the chat. Let's see what's up. Oh, there he's back. He's back. We good?
I literally didn't touch it. I don't know what happened. But basically, all I wanted to say was
finish your thought.
Sean Payton went to his bag of tricks. And it was a lot like watching the Lions offense with Ben Johnson. Just the aggressive nature. I like seeing the trickery. Riptide. Oh, my God.
Bro, jumping in from the top rope. One of his most generous super chats that I can recall. Thank you, brother. He says, Knicks belongs. 16, that's Troy Franklin, needs a jug machine. 84 needs to be content. Baltimore is beatable. Hope 2's ankle is okay, Sertan. Fumble's still a problem. Happy we won, but still got to be better for this 3-game stretch. If we can go 2-1, we could be 11-6. If we're 1-2, it's 9-8. And yeah, thank you, bro. Seriously, that means the world to us. Rip Dice, I hope you know that, big dog. I mean, we don't take that for granted. Very generous of you. Thank you. And I'm just wondering why. I mean, they're on your team. You got to use them, right? So I understand little Jordan Humphrey, but the matchups kept dictating that Bo Nix would go his way, and he just consistently kept letting him down. And yeah, a couple of through the hands of Troy Franklin too, Zach.
Yeah, it was Lil Jordan Humphrey. It was Troy Franklin. And also Marvin Mims didn't turn around on that before the half Hail Mary. It could have been a completion, but one takeaway, Riptide, I will say on the negative is that I still believe the Broncos need a separator. They need more weapons around Bo Nix because the current crop, Nate Atkins and Lil Jordan Humphrey, to me, doesn't cut it when you go against the Baltimores of the world. And we'll see how that turns out.
But yeah, just little things, down the stretch. This could have been a 42-point game, right? This could have been, it was a blowout win. But this could have been, Zach, like a big, like Von Miller, we're going to kick their A against the Cardinals, 40-point blowout. But the Broncos just kept lapsing. And I think it's a sign of a young team kind of finding their way, learning how to win, and not just learning how to win, but when you win, learning how to make that completely solid and convincing. Jeremiah, what's up, dude? Thank you, my friend, for the super chat. Says, pray for Panthers fans. Hashtag Believe. Hashtag Bowler Coaster. I never heard that one. That's a good one. Bowler Coaster. I feel it. Really appreciate you, big dog. And yeah, Panthers fans, they don't have it too good right now. Taylor Christensen, so good to see you, bro. He says, guys, love Bo's performance, but other than that, I was a little disappointed. Receivers fumbled twice and were the only drives, and the only drives Carolina scored on the fumbles. Right, exactly. Both touchdowns came off of our 2 turnovers. And then he says, also, we had a 100-yard receiver, if I'm correct. Yeah, your Denver Broncos today. Just real quick, Zach, then I'm going to serve this over to you.
Yeah.
If it will load NFL game stats and info. But I want to say, are you going to load for me? There we go. Bo Nix, 28-37 for 284 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, QB rating of 124. And Cortland Sutton barely hit 100 yards, right on the nose. Zach, 8 receptions, 100 yards after being shut out last week on 11 targets.
Yeah, there were a couple that he could have added to his count today. Cortland Sutton, just overall, again, he's not getting Bo Nix's the elite help receiving wise. But I want to tack on something to what you said, Chad, about the Broncos are learning to win. They're also learning to put away inferior teams. We saw it against the Raiders. We saw it again today. If they want to be a playoff team, you have to beat the teams you should. They should have beaten the Panthers today. And anyone disappointed, it was basically 28-7. That was a garbage time touchdown, and it was not even close from the first quarter on.
Well, it's also, guys, for what it's worth, tight ends day, right? And Mr. Producer brought that to my attention earlier, and then the broadcast brought it up a few times. Bo Nix, 2 of his touchdowns, and even to tight ends, and even Adam Troutman finished second on the team with 85 yards receiving on 4 receptions. Whoa, Chris, dude. Off the top rope. Dude, thank you so much. Love you, big dog. We know what this means. It's a solid play by Nix. I hope this is a glimpse into the future. Also, can Humphrey or Franklin catch? I know. Think about this. I keep going back to this. I've mentioned it. The first few times I heard Payton say it, there was a part of me that like my excuses and BS radar was going off. But as time has marched on and we've got more sample size with which to analyze, Zach, the more Sean Payton's saying that we need to paint a better picture around Bo Nix, and that everyone else just needs to, rise to the occasion better, and things are going to go smoother. Turned out to be, I think he actually meant what he was saying. It wasn't him trying to scapegoat anyone or to protect and preserve Bo Nix. I think it was the truth. And you saw today when his guys are playing well around him, he steps up and he does well himself. So it goes back to showing you, Zach, the symbiotic nature of the game of football. One of the things we love so much about it.
Absolutely, and thank you so much, Chris, as usual. That it's a massive show of your generosity, and you are absolutely amazing. Again, I wish the Broncos had better help around Bo Nix, at least a sure-handed seam buster. That's why I've been pining for David Njoku, but you get those performances from Troutman and Kroll and Adkins, and you can, I guess, make do. But we've seen Bo Nix grow as a passer, Chad. His footwork looks better. He looks less antsy and anxious in the pocket, and that's a big takeaway too. He's getting better as the season goes on. Thank you again, Chris.
Yeah, brother, seriously, so generous. Thank you. And it's his symbolic super chat is always on the gut reaction. It's always the amount that the Broncos score, and he's been multiplying it this season. Much to our blessing, right? To our benefit. So thank you, bro. Ted, what's going on? So good to see you. He says, Bo really improving on the intermediate passes. Good job taking care of business. No trap game here. MHH for life. Let's Bo. Yeah, and again, it was a little sketch at first. They're moving the ball a little bit on that first drive. I mean, it was real early in the drive, but then he turns it over and you're like, oh no, is it going to be one of those, like Ted says here, Zach, trap game? No. Yeah. Broncos showed their quality today. They handled an inferior opponent, but still enough imperfections that it gives the coaches still plenty of things to work on.
Yeah, I was worried that they're going to overlook them and look to Baltimore like they might have overlooked the Chargers when they were getting ready to play the Saints a couple weeks ago. But no trap game, it went as we expected, Chad. And how often can we say that in the last 10 years? We expected a Broncos win, and the Broncos came out and dominated.
Guys, so much more to get into. A lot more action taking place in the chat. But first, we got to talk about Prize Picks, which is the best place to get real money sports action. Speaking of, with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has been daily fantasy sports that's accessible to all. You just pick more or less. It's really easy. It's simplified on at least 2 players, okay, for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Check this out.
Prize Picks is the only real money daily fantasy platform with an injury insurance policy, so your lineups stay in place even if one of your players gets injured. If your player leaves in the first half and doesn't return, for example, Prize Picks keeps your lineup alive. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. So sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed.
That's right, guys. So download the app today. Use code MILEHIGH to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code MILEHIGH, all one word, MILEHIGh, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. All right, let's go back to the chat, see what's cooking here. Yeah, I mean, we got guys like William Shaw saying, hey, and thank you, bro, for the super chat and sharing your thoughts. He says, feels meh. Bo looked good. Mr. Butterworth Franklin looked bad. Couldn't run the ball versus the NFL's worst defense. PS2, hurt again. Too many fumbles and drops. Weirdly disappointing win. Go Broncos. I disagree with you that it was, I mean, every game with very few exceptions, so I probably shouldn't use an absolute. Most games have their foibles. They have their wrinkles. They have the, little forks in the road and plays, Zach, that you wish you could have back. But the Broncos, I mean, if I wanted to pick some nits, here's what I'd say. All right. I'd say, yes, what happened to that dominant 200-yard performance in New Orleans, especially against this defense? I mean, that Carolina front line, that front defensive line, dude, was handling the Broncos offensive line. Brutal. It was absolutely atrocious. The drops and the turnovers. Okay. And then the third thing is, it really sticks in my craw when your top 2 corners, who are supposed to be the dominant, big swing and what's on the block, each relinquish a touchdown to a team like this and to a quarterback like Bryce Young. Riley Moss got burned in garbage time. And then before that, Pat Surtain got burned. So those would be my 3 nits to pick, but I'm not trying to focus on that, William. Zach, I'm focusing on the fact that your Denver Broncos, at what used to be the halfway point, are 5-3.
Yeah, it's the best start since 2016. They're in second place in the AFC West. I mean, they almost control their own destiny. And William, no offense here, I'm kind of depressed after reading this comment because you can only play who's in front of you. You didn't squeak by the Panthers. And just like last week when you didn't need Bo Nix to have a big game, you let the running game do the work. This week, you let the passing game do the work. You didn't need the running game. Bo Nix was just in a rhythm. He was on one. And a win's a win's a win. And again, it was a dominating win against the Panthers. I get it, but still an NFL team.
Exactly. So, William, thank you for the support, though, bro. We're not trying to crap on you or anything. It means the world to us, but chin up, big dog. Papa Bear checking in. What's up, brother? Great to see you. Thank you for the super chat. He says, good afternoon, Broncos country. Hashtag 10-7 plus. Hashtag let's go, Bo. I love it, dude. Seriously. Thank you, brother. Your hashtag game, by the way, David, still very strong, big dog. Patriot Tex. What's up? He says, great game. Imagine if our receivers could catch deep passes. Got to get one in the next 2 weeks. Hashtag MHS for life. Yeah, I mean, Nix was dropping dimes. So this was like, Zach, the perfect storm, what we saw today of a quarterback in the zone, scheme capitalizing on what the opponent was, and a relatively mediocre to weak opponent. Those things came together. But Bo Nix was accurate. This is what Bo Nix is supposed to look like. You can tell that that was a point of emphasis for the Broncos over that little mini bye on his footwork. He was very accurate today. His receivers often let him down. And even on 2 of his completions, his receivers let him down, fumbling the ball, including his number 1 receiver. So his stat line, Zach, again, he finished with just shy of 300 yards, 284. But, dude, if even one of those guys, or even Marvin Mims turns his head, it's like, dude, you're a wide receiver. When you're like 15 yards past the line of scrimmage, you should start like cranking your neck toward the ball a little bit. But if even one of those connects, it's his first 300-yard passing game.
And again, he's showing his dual threat ability, able to punch it in on the ground, and also his toughness, Chad. I think it was near the goal line where he put his shoulder down, or it might have been a first down, but came up just short and he put his shoulder down, didn't slide, didn't give himself up. He wants to fight for every inch. You've got to respect a player like that.
I was a little worried he might have been concussed at first because the way that helmet, Josie Jewell's helmet, and his helmet kind of, like you said, he lowered his shoulder. I was like, ooh, and it popped it off, kind of not off his head, but like, dislodged it. But he was good. The Duchess weighing in. We love Michaela Parker. She is #family. That's what Michaela Parker is. Love you so much. She says, we left 2 touchdowns on the field. We need better hands. I know. That's what I'm saying is this. I mean, this should be like this game, Zach, should have been 42-7, to be frank with you. Like, okay, we'll allow the Humphrey. That was just a great play by the defense, and he wasn't playing heads up, holding on to the ball. All right, so they go down, they get that touchdown, but it should have been a 42-7 victory for the Denver Broncos if, to quote Sean Payton, Zach, the guys were painting a better picture around Bo Nix.
It's just kind of perspective is funny. Like at this time next week when we're on the podcast, and if the Broncos beat Baltimore by the same score, 28-14, we would be celebrating that fact that it was such a dominating, big, massive statement victory for Sean Payton. But because it was the Panthers, it was only 28-14. But everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Appreciate you, Michaela, like always. But to me, a win is a win is a win, and you can't get enough of them.
Wait a minute. Is this true? Mr. Producer, before we get the legendary mythical Naj, Bo Nix is the first Broncos player with 3 or more passing touchdowns, 0 picks, and 1 rushing touchdown in a single game ever. Is that real, dude? Wow. Pretty cool. Naj, love you, brother. Checking in with a generous super chat.
Naj.
He says, brothers, another solid win. I'll take it. Finally broke the streak of no 100-yard receivers. Yes. Nice to get that off the old that monkey off the back, so to speak. And here's the thing, guys. I will sit and talk about the nuances with you. If you have a nuanced opinion of something that bothered you about this game or aspects of it, we'll talk to you about it. But I got to tell you, if you could transport yourself back in time, even 1 year, and communicate to yourself and remember what it was like. I mean, when's the last time the Broncos were 5-3 basically at the midway point? Zach just iterated on almost a decade. Right. So let's appreciate what's happening here. And I think part of this, Zach, is just the high expectations that the nature that Broncos country has, because this team is just, even 8 years into a slump, organizational slump, you still got guys picking nits in 14-point victories at home. Enjoy it, guys. Because we're about to hit the old adversity skid right now. That doesn't mean we're going to lose. That doesn't mean doom is on the horizon. But they needed this confidence booster, and they got it. I'm sure it was a massive boost to their confidence, Zach.
Absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned a year ago how we would have felt at 5-3, even week 1, week 2, how we would have felt with the Broncos putting up the points they did in the last couple of weeks and how good the offense looked. They are getting better, and that's the best thing.
Phil McLaughlin, brother, great to see you. He says, afternoon, Chad, Zach, and Deacon Scott. Great to see our tight ends actually show up. #Buckham, Broncos for life, MHH for life. Troutman had a couple of long catches, right? But the one, his long of the day, which was 37, man, he is slow, dude. He was just, think how wide open he has to be, bro, to get 37 yards because of how slow he is. Like, he has to be basically completely forgotten by the defense. George Fox, I loved the hurry-up offense that kept the defense on their toes. That was a great game. Broncos for life, MHH for life. Yeah, brother. Yes, indeed. Scott, I just glanced up and almost lost my composure with some lulls. Brandon Williams, brother, appreciate you, big dog. Very much so. Throwing down some stars in support means the world to us. Guys, we're going to spend a lot more time in the chat tonight. So much more to get into. But first, guys, we got to remind you that this episode is brought to you in part by Manscaped, the global leader in men's lifestyle and grooming. Every dude knows the unbeatable feeling of a fresh barbershop shave. Now, what if we told you that you no longer have to wait weeks or even months between appointments to experience that beautiful feeling?
Yeah, introducing Manscaped's newest innovation, the Chairman Pro electric foil shaver, the game-changing tool that brings the luxury of a professional shave right into your home. Whether you're after that daily silky smoothie finish or prefer to maintain a rugged 5 o'clock shadow, the Chairman Pro electric foil shaver is your go-to for precision and style every single time. So head on over to manscaped.com and join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using code HUDDLE for 20% off and free shipping.
Get the Chairman Pro today, gang, and experience a shave that is as smooth as you deserve. Get 20% off plus free shipping with our code HUDDLE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with our code HUDDLE at manscaped.com. And let me tell you something. One of the things that our advertising partners love about partnering with us is how responsive you guys are. And this is one of those partners we have that every product that I've ever used is phenomenal. It's never steered me wrong. I literally use Manscaped every day, even when they're not an ad partner currently. My sons do. It's killer. I love Manscaped, so appreciate Manscaped helping to bring this episode to us tonight. All right, back into the chat. What do you think? Tom Lockoff, what's up, bro? Thank you for the super chat. Good to see you. He says, with the trade deadline coming up, these Broncos need a legit receiver other than Sutton. And he says, in Bo, we trust. Let him loose like that from here on out. Yeah, well, here's the thing, bro. So 2 points there. Again, it was nice to see that it was clear, Zach, point of emphasis. It was evident in just his complete, even though he was sacked twice, like that's the only thing you could really take away from Bo today. And, you know, if you're going to say that sacks are a quarterback stat when you're criticizing Russell Wilson, then you got to hold that standard to Bo Nix as well. And he took, I think it was two sacks today. Let me double check that. Yeah, 2 sacks, both by A'Shawn Robinson. That's the only real negative thing you could say, in my opinion, about Bo Nix today. He was on the money. And Zach, just when we thought, you know, when you talk about his previous point about needing another wide receiver, just when we thought it might be Troy Franklin, right? You had multiple websites last week, national, going, oh, especially on the fantasy, hey, Troy Franklin needs to be one of those like immediate waiver pickups. He's led the team in targets the last 2 weeks. He was basically a non-factor today.
Life of Troy Franklin in year one. It's been so up and down for him since training camp. And like you said, just when you think he found it, he's still a little bit behind. But the thing with sacks, when you compare it to Russell Wilson was a 35-year-old veteran, Chad. You know, Bo Nix is in his first season, his 8th start. So we have to cut him a little. He's going to take sacks at some point, but he's been doing, on the whole, such a good job avoiding pressure this season.
Man, I got to tell you, I just watched it again. That Hail Mary was awesome, dude. Congrats to Jaden Daniels on beating the number 2 pick, beating the number 1 pick. That was cool. The David, or the David, if you were Deutsch. If you were German, they call you David. You know how I know this? Because I took German in 8th grade, and one of my best buddies in junior high was named David, and so our teacher would call him David. So now you know. This is why you watch the Mile High Huddle podcast, for meaningless anecdotes like that. Thank you, the David. By the way, newer name, right, Zach? I don't recognize the David, so welcome.
Welcome, David.
I'm proud of the product on the field for the first time in a long time, says the David. Thanks, Priest, for helping me get through the past 8 years. Go Broncos, MHH for life. Yeah, dude, it's been a rough go, but Sean Payton got his quarterback. You got a defense that's playing balls to the wall, and it's a beautiful sight to behold.
Yeah, I'm so happy to see this comment after the kind of bleaker one earlier about a 14-point victory. And David, I'm so happy to hear that you're proud. I want this always for Broncos country. After the last decade, y'all deserve it. Every single win, every single game. And you should be proud. It was a pretty commanding victory today.
Thank you, the David. David Grover in the house. What's up, bro? Good to see you. He says, it's been a minute. Yes, we've missed you. We've missed your Musk, like Champ Kind, miss Ron Burgundy's Musk. I miss you. I want to be near you, right, Grover? But wanted to drop some love on this solid win. 'Twas nice to finally see our tight ends get into the game plan too. Loving this complimentary football. Hashtag MHH for life, Denver Broncos for life. Indeed, brother. Feels good, baby. What can you say, Zach?
When you have the tight ends the Broncos do out there making one-handed grabs and just showing out, scoring, it's I never thought I'd see it. It's maybe a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then, but we'll have to see if they can keep this going forward.
And even Sean Payton kind of breaking the fourth wall by making sure the tight ends got in on the action today. And by the way, props to Nate Atkins, because that touchdown he had was not an easy haul in. He sacrificed his body, went low, weird angle. So low and with your hands like this, right? So you're like, ooh, and he got it. So props to him. Zeus, bro. Stu McPeak, the first face etched on the MHH Mount Rushmore. This cat right here jumping in to say, good game. Bo continues to improve. That's another thing, guys. Each step is like, you're seeing other things. The game is slowing down. And one of the things we've said as a theme on this show is the more the game slows down, the better Bo's going to look. And, it's easy to say that, right, for any quarterback. But we're saying, hey, those 61 starts ought to accelerate the slowing down of the game at some point, you would think. Today was a strong sign that that's happening. He says it looked like the Broncos played to the level of the competition. I think they missed some plays. Bo definitely needs help at wide receiver. Yeah, and there's going to be opportunities. I mean, today, Zach, there were a couple of trade rumors. DJ Jones linked to the Niners. Ian Rappaport floating both Baron Browning and Jonathan Cooper as potential trade pieces. So if the Broncos decide to move one of those three defenders, and there's some fire, it's not just smoke, maybe they'll find a way to parlay that into a receiver. I don't know.
Maybe I'm just happier than I should be with this victory, but that a comment, Stu, and thank you so much. I just feel like that would apply if they barely got by Carolina. But if you watch this game, not just look at the score, and yeah, they missed some plays. It wasn't close. It was almost varsity playing against JV. It's how bad Bryce Young is, but the Broncos made them pay. They were looking great on offense. They were connecting, and they were smothering on defense. You can't, to me, ask for more than that.
Yeah, I'll acknowledge maybe in the second half it kind of felt like they were playing down to their competition a little bit, and not Bo Nix though. Bo Nix still was throwing dimes, dude. He's just getting let down. James Todd, good to see you. Thank you, bro. He said Nix had a great day, but it would have been even better if his receivers didn't drop the ball, especially the down the field passes. Yeah, I mean honestly, Bo could have come out of there if it was one of those just like all the stars were aligning type of days. He could have. I mean, there was probably near on 100 yards left on the field with the different, because a lot of those drops or just near misses, Zach, were either deep vertical passes that would have padded your receive or your passing yardage, or even one that would have been a touchdown. So, hey, what are you going to do? But James, thank you, buddy.
The fact that we're even talking about missing deep passes is a step up from earlier in the season, like we were talking about in the podcast earlier tonight, Chad, is that they weren't even attempting deep passes. So you see Bo Nix's confidence level, you see Sean Payton's trust in Bo Nix go up, and it's coalescing.
And, hey, Baltimore Ravens are mortal. I mean, they lost today by 5 points to the Browns, came down to the final play, kind of a similar series, different score, but a similar kind of end of game series as the Bears and Commanders game. Timmy Shields, what up, dude? Thank you for the generous super chat. He says, here is to finally winning the games we are supposed to. And look, 28 points. He's following the theme set by legendary mythical Mount Rushmore superstar Chris Hernandez. Here's to finally winning the games we're supposed to. Go Broncos, MHH for life. That's an excellent point, Timmy. One that we talked about in the week leading up to this game, Zach, but have yet to address today, which is winning those games that you're supposed to. We know how tough the next 3-game stretch is. You got to take care of business. They did.
Yeah, and hopefully the Chargers game is, you could argue whether they should have had that one too. Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite them. But this is a team, I see the comment, it's nice to nitpick instead of cry about a loss. It's growth. If we're nitpicking about a 14-point victory, it's a lot better than, crying over a 14-point loss. It's where we were the last decade.
All right, guys. Edward Navarrete jumping in. Good to see you, bro. He says, when are y'all going to make an away meet and greet? Broncos country travels deep. Come to LA, or are you saying Louisiana? Probably LA. MHH, hashtag Bo, hashtag winning season coming. Yeah, because Broncos have yet to play in LA this year, which they will, that away game. One of these days, are the Broncos going to Atlanta next year? We'll see. But we'll take it under advisement, Edward. I'll tell you that. We'll take it under advisement, big dog.
Yeah, for sure. We have Michael Davis, 4.99 super. Thank you so much, Michael. He says, Priest, let the national media focus on Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. I prefer staying under the radar. Knicks 4 touchdowns. Our time is coming. Also, any news on the PS2 ankle? We went live as usual right after the game ended, so we weren't able to catch the presser. I'm assuming it's not a major injury, but we'll keep you guys posted on that. And yeah, it seems like every time the Broncos, like after the winning streak last season and they choked against Detroit, when they get that national media buzz, they fall apart. I prefer, like you, Michael, to let people hate, let people keep counting them out, let people keep picking against them. Everyone is going to be picking Baltimore next week, and that's how I want it.
Yeah, I'm just taking a quick perusal of Twitter just to see if Payton, Payton doesn't talk about injuries anyway. So, like, local press have kind of gotten to a point where they'll still throw the obligatory question out, but they don't really press him on it. And I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything on Twitter. So, guys, lots more to get to in the chat tonight. And we're going to give some shouts to some people on Instagram. It's good to see y'all. But first, guys, listen up. With the big wireless providers, y'all know what you see in the store with that very nice salesman talked you into this great plan and this great phone. And you're thinking, I can budget that. Then you get the first bill and you're like, whoa, that wasn't what I expected. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, that price you thought you were getting, it magically skyrockets. But with Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about those gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month, when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. So say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, monthly bills, and those brutal, unexpected overages.
To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/huddle. That's mintmobile.com/huddle. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/huddle. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Man, Sean Payton, I mean, obviously he has all that history, Zach, of competing against the Panthers as a division rival for 15 years of his life. So it's now in his DNA to absolutely loathe and hate the Panthers. But Dave Canales must have really pissed him off. Quote, this is a quote from Payton postgame. It's not a good offense we played. It's just the truth on beating the Panthers and playing the Ravens next. We have a big game this week against a much better team. I mean, that's just not the type of thing that people say. And I'm telling you right now, yes, Zach, part of it is the whole NFC South thing. All right. But it was, hey, I'm declining the 10 yards for you. Go ahead and punt. No, thanks, sucker. We're going for it on 4th down. It's like, really? And we stopped you. So that obviously ticked off, to quote him, the man himself, Sean Payton.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier, it seemed like it was varsity versus JV, and like these comments and the way Sean Payton coached, it was like the bully or the senior shoving the underclassmen into a locker because he can, just because he can, because he has the ability to, and he flexed his dominance today, and he's able to talk after a win like that.
Zebo down in Oz, great to see one of our regulars, one of our family members. See, Broncos country in Australia, it's not a geographic location. It's a state of being, baby. It's wherever you are. And that's where this cat is. He says, "G'day, y'all. Love the show. Receivers, thank you. Receivers need to catch and hold on to the balls. Easily left 2 touchdowns on the field. Love our defense. How good were the 2 trick plays? Game was over at halftime. MHH for life. Knicks for 6. Benito for 6. That's true. 6 games now, Zach, straight that Nick Benito has notched himself a sack. So props to him. Love seeing him coming along. But yeah, the trick plays. I'm telling you, Sean Payton was pissed off today. You could see it. And the Broncos, the one that was the Cortland Sutton pass, I mean, that dude can throw dimes, dude. We've seen it before. Remember the throw he had to Tim Patrick? I'm trying to remember against who it was, but similar. I want to say I remember him throwing one to Emmanuel Sanders that was for a touchdown, if memory serves. I could be misremembering that, but I'm pretty sure. And then the other trick play was going for it on fourth down, which if it's not 4th and 8, if it's 4th and 3, 4th and 4, 4th and 5, you actually move the chains with that rush. Was it Nate Adkins? But 4th and 8 was just a bridge too far. They didn't quite get there.
Yeah, and I like the aggressive nature. I don't think he showed too much, and gave too much away. I think he has more to come. And we have Naj, 1999 Super Brothers, and thank you, Naj, as always. In my opinion, Broncos country should be ecstatic, and Nick's getting better. D top 5 tight ends showed up, and right now we should be the 5 seed in the playoffs. Haven't seen this in 8 years. Let's go. And again, another comment that makes me feel good, Chad, because this fan base and those who cover the team, have been through so much in the last decade, and that's why I'm not one to nitpick any victory, Carolina or otherwise.
Totally. And excellent points, Naj. Thank you, brother. Donovan Rios jumping in. That's a newer name. Welcome. Thank you, big dog. Don't be a stranger. Says it amazes me how Brandon Jones just flies around. I know if you blink at times, you're going, wait a minute, is that Kareem Jackson? Except this dude actually wraps up. Like when he lays the hit, he's not trying to knock someone out of their cleats. He's trying to stop them. He's solid, dude. I've been really pleased with him. And I wasn't sure what to make of him, Zach, when the Broncos signed him. They didn't give him a ton of money, Brandon Jones, but as kind of a not too experienced starter, right? He'd been in the league 4 or 5 years, whatever, but not a lot of starts under his belt. I wasn't sure what to expect, but he's been a pleasant surprise. Scott, good to see you on Facebook, bro. Says, hey, guys, love the win, and we are getting better. I just wish when we are winning like that we would just take it to him. And it's killer when Nick throws dimes and it goes through the receiver's hands. Saw it a few times today. Yeah, but again, brother, you tell him, Zach.
I was going to make a point about the Brandon Jones comment that I haven't, and I don't think many Broncos fans have. I don't know if you have, Chad. Said to yourself one time this season, God, I really miss Justin Simmons. This defense isn't the same without Justin Simmons.
True.
Brandon Jones has been an underrated, excellent addition. You're also getting good play from PJ Locke when he was healthy, and Devin Key played a good game today. Just the job that VJ and Jim Leonard have done with that secondary has been incredible. Riptide, $2 super thank you. Trade for Deontay Johnson. Deontay's hurt, so I don't know that you would want to trade for him. And you need a little more of an elite talent. He looks good in Carolina because no one else is really around him. You put him in Pittsburgh like he was, he's a small fish in a big pond.
Michaela, happy National Tight End Day, I think is what she's saying, folks. But it's also National Touchdown Day for the Denver Broncos anyway. I mean, 3 passing scores from Bo Nix, Zach, plus the rushing score, the little whoop over the goal line. Love seeing that. Thank you, Michaela, for yet another super chat tonight, my friend. Real quick, just for what it's worth, by way of the Justin Simmons comment you made, because you're right. I have not thought about him that I can recall one time since the season started. 7 games with Atlanta. He's got 3 passes defensed. He does have an interception. So, he's turning in a solid. What would you say, Scott? Commodus from Gladiator. Scott's going like this. Yeah. So he gets to keep fighting. He doesn't die, right? So if you're Commodus and Gladiator and you're going like this, and he goes like this, that means the Gladiator has to fight another round instead of just like getting the axe or just being granted, life. So that's where Justin Simmons is at. Kathy in Deutschland, if memory serves, checking in from Germany. Thank you, my friend. See, worldwide effect with MHH and the Broncos. She says 100% right, Chad. Bo leave, Knicks for 6, another dub, another interception for Pat Surtain. Hashtag MHH for life, Broncos country, Germany. There we go. And look, you also had a phenomenal, that Surtain pick, you need guys who, take the low-hanging fruit when it just comes right to them. And Surtain is almost always not going to miss those things, right? But Jaquan McMillan, dude, that was a pick. That was a man who turned nothing into something.
I always scream at corners like they never get their head around to get their head around and locate the football. And he did at the last second and like contorted his body in midair and came down with that pick. It was a hell of a play. And whether it's the no-fly zone, whatever you want to call them, you can easily make the case the Broncos have one of the best secondaries in the league.
Steve Hale, good to see you, big dog. Thank you for the super. And yes, Semper Fidelis, right back at you, big dog. Love the stretch we just had, but I hope they understand the stretch coming up. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, are Spencer Rattler and
I'm gonna say
Bryce
aren't.
aren't. Yes. Hope coaching staff is preparing that way. I think so. I think they understand that. I think, there were probably, even if it wasn't like big team meeting stuff individually, the mandate, I'm sure, from Payton to his coaching staff was, we got to really hammer home that we got to get this win. We got to take care of business because we're going up against it the next 3 weeks. So, let's handle this. The Broncos, that's not going to be lost on them, but I feel good about it. I mean, I'm a little sketched about PS2. We'll see what's going on with that ankle. And, this isn't one of those situations, Zach, where you can be the Monday morning quarterback and pick nits. Oh, this was a game they could have afforded to let Surtain sit one last time. They didn't need to play him. Now what's going on? But no, when your stars are healthy, they play the freaking games, dude. And another point, I love another mark of a good team. Your stars carry the water. What'd you see today? You saw Bo Nix throwing down big numbers. You saw Cortland Sutton get 100. You saw PS2 get a pick. You saw Nick Bonito, a poor man's first round pick. And by that, I simply mean the Broncos were poor that year when it came to first round picks. He was their first pick. So he was a second round pick, but a poor man's first round pick. I love seeing that. The stars showing up, Zach.
Yeah, and obviously, they're not those quarterbacks, and they're not going to be preparing that way. But again, it's not like Spencer Rattler and Bryce Young lit up the Broncos defense. The Broncos played as well as they should have against those two quarterbacks, and it becomes tougher the next couple weeks. But I think the Broncos defense, Chad, at least, is up to the test.
Excellent point here from the Papa Bear saying Nix has the rookie record now for the Broncos for games won. So it was a mark that he co-owned 4 wins with John Elway and Drew Lock. Now Nix is in sole possession of the most wins by a rookie quarterback in Broncos history. Casey Nickel jumping in. Good to see you, big dog. And by the way, I will be getting back to you on our correspondence in the next 2 days or so. So be looking for that, my friend. Thank you for the super chat. Great to see you. It says, get Nix a playmaker because he's not getting help from his guys. Nix was on fire. Yeah, and that's the thing is you go, well, what's missing exactly? It's that because, they were getting open. Ball was coming right to them. They're dropping it. They're fumbling it. It's not a matter of not getting open, at least in this game. That has been a problem at certain points this season, Zach. It's that clutch gene. It's that I'm not going to let this opportunity pass me by. It's that competency clutch factor that even in a second quarter and what might seem, Zach, like a perfunctory, whatever, 2nd and 8, and it's a 15-yard gain potentially, but you let it go through your hands. Those have to be caught. What's going on? And Sean Payton, that's another thing, displeased by that today.
Yeah, that was if I'm going to nitpick one thing from this game, it's not that they should have won by more or Bo Nix should have had this or that. It's that Bo Nix still doesn't have the talent around him that he needs. And doesn't it totally excuse him from every throw, every play, but he needs just one elite separator on the field, whether at running back, tight end, or receiver.
Lance Blunt checking in. What's up, dude? Thank you for the super chat. He says, we hit our Vegas win total for the season. As long as the O-line continues to protect Bo and the offense allows him to grow, everything from here on out is gravy. We're developing a rookie quarterback. It's not easy. Let's enjoy our successes. Hashtag MHH for life. Excellent points. We haven't quite surpassed or hit because it was 5.5 if memory serves, right, Zach? So basically it was get to 6 wins. So one more, and we can officially say with perfect accuracy and peace of mind that we have surpassed Vegas's over-under on the Broncos before the season started.
It's pretty safe to assume the Broncos will get that win at some point, Chad. So I always thought it was low. You always thought it was low, and I think it was a little disrespectful to set it that low, and we'll see how far the Broncos take it. Maybe they can even double it, Chad, from 5.5 to 11. That'd be amazing.
I mean, dude, this team, there's something about them. Victor, good to see you. Victor Espinoza checking in with a generous super. Says, we have our QB of the future, my dudes. Receiver play needs some improvement, but passes are on target, ready to break the QB curse. Yeah, dude. When his footwork is on, baby. Like BNS here. Can Franklin just catch a deep ball, a deep one? Hashtag all pro Bulls. He's still trolling you, Zach, this many years later.
Yeah, I got to give Bowles. I didn't see his stat line today or whatever, but he went 5 consecutive games allowing 2 or fewer pressures and no sacks. I'll give credit always where it's due, and Bowles has definitely settled down this season.
Um, what was it I was going to say though on the previous comment from Victor? Breaking the QB curse. That's right, baby. Diamond J Rattler in the house. See, I send out the tags and the shout outs for the super chat superstars and supporters on X from the Twitter account after every show. So many of you, I literally have your Twitter accounts like memorized because I've searched it out again. I'm like, what's Diamond? Oh, pretty easy to remember. Diamond J Rattler. Just remember what that middle initial is. Boom, he says, Zach, let's go. Heck yeah, brother. Doug Raquel checking in. Great to see you. Beautiful dog in your profile pic. Awesome, dude. Love it. Thank you, buddy. Grover, against to say, do you think Sean calling those trick plays was to send a message to the rest of the NFL that our offense is coming around more than anything else? Hashtag miss the MHH must see. Yeah. That's right. No, honestly, this is I tweeted about this during the game. I think Sean Payton was turning the screws on a dude that kind of violated. I mean, it's not a written rule. It's the kind of thing Josh McDaniels would do, what Dave Canales did, right? Like it's third down. It's I think they even got yardage on that third down, but there was a holding penalty. So the yardage gave him a 3rd and 2. The holding penalty would have made 3rd and 12, but Sean Payton declined it, and they still made it 3rd and 2. So he goes for it on 4th down. Pardon me, fourth and 2. That pissed him off, Zach. I think that is actually more the explanation, and further evidence to that is his rhetoric at the podium post game. Which, once you guys are done with this stream, and we're off the air here in about 10 or 15 minutes, go watch Sean Payton. Go find his post game. You're going to see he's a little salty.
We're speculating, of course, but if that's the case, Dave Canales is a rookie head coach, and maybe Sean Payton feels like the young guy disrespected the teacher or whatever. There's some sort of paying your dues in the NFL coaching ranks. Remember the comments that Sean Payton made about Nathaniel Hackett when he took the job last season, too. He takes the job very seriously, and he's always trying to prove his point, regardless of what it costs.
Flat Earth Trini in the house. The firmament is with him and all to say our season officially starts now. Gets tougher from here on out. Hashtag MHH rocks. The only reason I know that is my band, Bridge the Gap, that I do for fun. If we have a famous song, our most famous song, it's called My Creation. And in it, I use the word firmament. Totally just talking about the stars and like a blanket of stars, like Milky Way. It's like a firmament of stars. More like a biblical reference, honestly, beyond anything. If I've gotten one comment or question about it, I've gotten 150 of people going, "Are you flat earther? Are you flat earther?" And I'm like, "What is that even coming from?" And then finally, someone's like, "Firmament." That's like a flat Earth thing. I'm like, oh, "Okay, let me go look into this." Now I know. So flat Earth, appreciate you, dog. Lando Lee saying, "Let's keep the momentum going." I see what you did there, dog. You're a wordsmith, you are, Lando. Appreciate you, bro. MP checking in with the super chat. Welcome. Thank you. Why show trick plays, Zach, to the Panthers?
Number one, like I said a minute ago, just because Sean Payton can, and maybe he heard the criticisms, including some on this podcast, Chad, about his offense looking outdated or, stuck in 2006. When I watch the Lions every week, and I brought this up earlier with Ben Johnson, their OC, I'm always taken aback by the trick plays they pull out and the play designs and the creativity. We haven't really seen much of that with Sean Payton, and I think maybe he's teaching the younger guy a lesson like you talked about with Dave Canales. Maybe he's showing the NFL like, hey, I can draw up plays with the best of them and I can be aggressive. And part of it too, with the offense anyway, is trusting your quarterback more. I think the training wheels have come off Bo Nix now.
I think more than anything else, dude, honestly, it was taking a rookie head coach out to the woodshed and showing him, belt's coming off. You done messed up. Dad's mad. Whoopsh. That's what it was. But that is the downside. Did you just show something that you would have been better served to hold on to? Keep that up your sleeve. All right, Zach, before we get out of here, some studs and duds from the Broncos 28-14 win over the Panthers. And I'm just going to throw a few out here. Was he a stud or a dud, Jalil McLaughlin?
Stud. What he does on the edge, Chad, on those little swing passes is incredible.
8 carries, 47 yards, plus he had the 1 reception, 9 yards, which was a touchdown. All right, Javonte Williams, stud or dud?
I'm gonna say dud.
Agreed. 2.6 yard average on 17 totes. Dud, but it wasn't all his fault. That O-line was getting zero purchase, but Javonte, his vision is just so inconsistent. All right, let me take it to the receiving corps. I mean, obviously, guys, we know Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton studs, right? Today, Adam Troutman, you give it to him. But what about Devon Vele, Zach?
I think he looks good. I think Bo Nix trusts him, and I don't know. Is there an in between stud and dud, Chad? Just like
Well,
he's there.
he just makes those. He's made a couple of tough catches.
Yeah.
Today, one was low, moved the chains. Another one getting those toes down, moved the chains. Like I like those hands, and just it's like what I was talking about earlier about that. It's a presence of mind. It's a clutch gene. It's a I'm going to win this rep. Like, I'm not going to let my team down. Like that, nothing's going through his hands. I love seeing that. It's very evocative, Zach, of the man who most recently wore the 81 before him, Tim Patrick. Okay, let me throw at you Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Dud. I don't know why. In no universe, Chad, in no serious universe, should Lil Jordan Humphrey be on the field as much as he is. He's a role player, a number 4 or 5 receiver, and they're treating him like a number 2 guy. Dud.
How about the leading tackler, 12 to his name today, Brandon Jones?
I like the comment said earlier. He's flying around and doesn't make you miss Justin Simmons.
Okay, here's a little tougher one for you. Riley Moss.
You're going to say dud probably because he got beat for that touchdown, but it was a back shoulder, Chad. It happens. It was the end of the game. I think for the most part, still in his first starting season, I don't know about stud this game, but I wouldn't call him a dud personally.
What about Pat Surtain? Same?
I think he was a stud in this game.
Okay.
First game back from a concussion, had a pick.
By the way, Broncos 2 sacks today, so a little bit under their typical pace. Jonathan Cooper got one, and of course the aforementioned Nick Bonito. Excellent stuff. Fun conversation, guys. We got a few messages for you, though, and then we're going to dip out.
Tremendous episode, as always, of the Mile High Huddle podcast. If you're not doing so, please follow us on Twitter at the MHH Pod. You can follow the main account on Twitter at Mile High Huddle, Chad at Chad and Jensen, myself at Kelberman NFL, and Scott, our producer, at Scout Kennedy. If you guys want some merch like we're rocking each and every single podcast, check out mhhmerch.com and get you some. If you haven't done so yet, drop us a like at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. You can find us on Instagram at mile_high_huddle. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, make sure you're leaving your football priest a 5-star review for a chance to win some merch each and every single month. But if anything, y'all, please, very important here, subscribe, like, and share this video and every video you see on the MHH channel. It really does help us grow and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
Zach just said it on the likes. We need them, guys. Especially right now. This is solid, but in the room on YouTube alone, right this second, there's 302 just on YouTube. We only have 116 likes. Guys, you break our hearts. It's the least you can do. Hit the like button, guys. We need it, especially on these gut reactions. It helps set the tone with the algorithm throughout the week. So smash it. I'm seeing it go up now. Keep smashing it. Let's go. And same on Facebook. Daniel, thank you for the super chat. Why show the trick plays? Give the Ravens and Chiefs something to prep for. MHH for life. # let them bow. Yeah, we touched on that toward the end just a few minutes ago, and it's a question worth asking. And hopefully it doesn't backfire on Sean Payton. Richie Rich jumping in. What's up, dude? Zach, Devon Vele showing early Denver Tim Patrick vibes. Question is whether he can progress.
Yeah, I didn't mean my comments to slander Vele. I just didn't think he was like an outward stud in today. He had some nice catches for sure. Maybe I'm biased because I want that separator. I want that speed. I just put a Jahmyr Gibbs or Kyle Pitts in this offense, Chad, or a Njoku, and they would be taken to another level. But for sure, Vele should be seeing the field more than Lil Jordan Humphrey is.
Good to see you, Rich. Keep smashing it, guys. I'm going to give some shout-outs for tonight to the great Mile High Huddle Super Chat superstars and supporters like Jeremiah, like Taylor, like Riptide throwing down, like Ted, William Shaw, the Papa Bear, Patriot Tex, legendary Super Chat superstar, Phil, Chris Hernandez from the top rope leading the way tonight. Thank you, bro. George Fox on Facebook, Tom, We got Brandon Williams. We got the legendary shot of life, Naj Altaf. We got the David in the house. Grover multiple times tonight. We got Zeus McPeak. We've got James Todd, Timmy Shields. The first two faces etched on the MHH Mount Rushmore in the house tonight. Michaela Parker, Edward Navarrete, Michael Davis, Zebo down in Australia, Donovan, Scott, Kathy in Germany. Let's see, Steve Hale with the Semper Fidelis. I love it. Casey Nickel, Victor Espinoza, Doug Raquel, Diamond Rattler, BNS, Lance Blunt, Flat Earth Trini, Lando Lee, the original owner of the Millennium Falcon, MP, Richie Rich, Daniel Garcia, much love and respect. And then this last super coming in from Michaela. I'm scared of the Ravens. I'm afraid that we don't have much of a chance. Any given Sunday. I feel good about it. I mean, the Ravens showed today that they are most certainly mortal. I mean, you lost to a reeling Browns team with Jameis Winston. You got to go into their house. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a rock fight. But this is a team that I think has built up, Zach, a little bit of a shell around itself that can endure a rock fight.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens are going to be pissed off after losing today's game. It was a trap game for them, and the Broncos are probably riding high coming off that Carolina win. But Michaela, anything can happen, like Chad said, on any given Sunday. It's not just a great football movie. It's true. And you didn't think the Broncos, I'm guessing, had a chance against Kansas City last season, or Buffalo, or Minnesota, or the games the Broncos pulled out a stunner in. Not predicting a win here, but it's going to be closer than a lot of people realized.
And just remember, Michaela, Broncos have won 5 of their last 6. So they're finding different ways. Each game takes on its own complexion and characteristics, and they find ways to win each one. The last 2, convincingly, they handled inferior opponents, like Zach said, like taking on JV, slam dunk. All right, guys, love you. We'll see you tomorrow, Zach and I, for the aftermath episode. But don't forget too, on the bright, you got some Broncos for breakfast with Scott and Nick. So can't wait to see you tomorrow.
Have a great rest of your Sunday. Enjoy the victory. We'll see you tomorrow night for the aftermath. Take care. And as always, go Broncos.